Back to the Valley Indy 2023 Great Give live stream. I am still Eugene Driscoll. Last I checked, the valleyindy.org. And it's the allergies. I got allergies, all right? Don't yell at me. But joining me, I'm very happy to welcome to the program Shannon Bullard of the Julia Day Nursery School. Shannon, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Eugene.
So you're one of the many organizations that people can support during the Great Give, which is happening. We're taping this a day before, but it's May 3rd and May 4th. Starts at 8 a.m., goes until 8 p.m. on Thursday. And there's also, if you want to support Julia Day, there's a specific time to do so. Let me share my screen real fast, and we'll go over this just to let people know right off the bat. I always forget these. Sometimes there's matching things happening. So hopefully people can see that. A generous donor has provided a match pool of $5,000 for child daycare, pre-K, K-12, and special education schools. Thing to keep in mind if you want to qualify for that, if you want your donation to qualify for that matching money, you need to do it between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. May 4th. So that's between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. on May 4th. All that being said, Shannon, I have a tendency to talk too much during these things. What is the Julia Day Nursery School? Tell us about it.
So Julia Day is a child care center in Ansonia. We have actually been serving families of the Valley and here in Ansonia for 106 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it definitely is. Started obviously much different than what we do today because the needs of the community have changed. And that's what Julia Day does. We grow and change with the community to meet the community needs. At one point, we had a kindergarten program. Public school kindergarten changed, so we modified our program so that we can bring more children in for preschool. At one point, we had a lot of nursery children, so children coming from 9 to 12:30. Now we see a lot of families who need care for that extended day, so we still offer that program, but a majority of our children are here for the full day with us. We give them breakfast, we give them lunch, we provide them a snack, and really serving a lot of the lower income families of the community.
And do you have to be a resident of Ansonia to enroll your child, or is it open to the Valley as a whole?
No, we're open to the Valley as a whole. We have children who live in, as far as Waterbury, we have some children from Woodbridge, Seymour, Derby, and then we do participate in the Ansonia School Readiness Program. So 23 of our slots are reserved exclusively for residents of Ansonia.
And how many kids do you have enrolled?
We have 62 children enrolled. We can have up to 50 children at any one time.
And I would imagine, I have two kids, one in fourth grade, one in seventh grade. I live in Derby. And when my son was born, who's now in seventh grade, my first child, literally breaking down into tears with my wife trying to find daycare options. There was expensive, hugely expensive. Just the stress of that was not something I was prepared for as a new dad. It floored me how difficult it was. And I know, do you find you can't service as many kids as you would like? And do you have any advice for people who might be going through that? Because I know daycare, affordable childcare, along with housing and food insecurity, one of the most pressing issues in the lower Naugatuck Valley.
It's huge, and we spend a lot of time advocating for childcare, participating in groups with other organizations to try and really bring this to the forefront and, get some funding to support childcare without putting that onto the backs of the parents to pay those increased costs. Yeah, we talk to a lot of families who are calling us and looking for care for children in an age range that we don't serve. And many of the programs that we have a relationship with are full. We try to negotiate our schedule so that we can accommodate as many families as we can. We are full for the summer, and I have children coming in when others are on vacation just because the parents are trying to piece it together because programs are full. I think starting your search early, if you think you're starting too early, you're probably already late.
Mm.
Um, Given what the climate of childcare is, and folks looking for care, and affordable care is really the thing. And Julia Day prides itself on trying not to put those costs back on to parents, taking minimal increases in our tuition while still being able to support our staff, which isn't easy. We heavily rely on donations, whether it's direct donations to use to add things to our programs to enrich it for the children, or donations from companies that provide services like coming to do a spring cleanup at our center so that we can reallocate funds within our budget that we would have ordinarily spent on those things.
Yeah, I know one thing. The importance of pre-K. I mean, probably. I mean, when I was in nursery school, it wasn't thought of as an education. I think it wasn't. No one. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's this real emphasis and research now that shows you have to have your child in pre-K, specifically and especially if you're coming from a family that has challenges. I mean, every family in Ansonia and Derby, or the most of them, work two jobs. So it's pre-K is more important than ever. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Children are learning most of the things that they need before the age of 5. And so it's not just, sometimes parents think of learning, ABCs, can they write their name? But they also need to know how to interact with other people, how to regulate their emotions, how to wait their turn. And all of those things are things that we're focusing on in our preschool classrooms, and something that we are seeing children and families needing more support with, especially as we're seeing this group of COVID children coming into preschool now who were home for the first year, 2 years of their lives with minimal interaction with others. Not allowing parents into the child care center. So not only do we educate and provide a stable environment for the children, but we provide that for the families. Our teachers are role models for the parents who may not have a support system otherwise. And it's important, but it's even more important now that we've kind of missed out on that for a good couple of years.
And I know, again, my daughter's in fourth grade, so I'll speak from personal experience, not to dox her, but her grade, my daughter and her classmates are behind on math and reading, and it seems it's because they were learning from home during the pandemic. Are you finding that as well with the kids that are coming in? Are they developmentally behind where they should be because of what we went through the last couple of years?
Yeah, we're absolutely seeing kids that need a lot more support with things that a group of preschool children 5 years ago were a bit more independent with. We are relying a lot more on our consultants who we have agreements with coming in to provide some direct support for staff to implement different strategies, modeling strategies, and giving us things to use that perhaps we haven't had to pull out of our toolbox in several years, or were never in our toolbox to begin with, because we're just seeing a lot of different child behaviors, really is what we're seeing more of and having to manage more of, and how to still interact with the children who are not exhibiting those behaviors, and kind of trying to prevent that domino effect of, well, I see my friend doing this, and then everybody following that example.
And then you had mentioned tuition earlier. Is there like a rough estimate? How much does it cost to send a child to Julia Day?
So Julia Day, our full-time tuition right now is $242 per week. So that's for full-time Monday through Friday, includes the meals, and we provide enrichment. So bringing things into the center that children may not have the opportunity to do outside of the center because of the family financial situation or maybe a transportation situation. And so those things also help to support some of the trouble behaviors that we're seeing. So having someone coming in that's doing yoga with the children, doing music, which provides teachers a different way to be able to teach the children and present information, bringing in different sports programs, museums, and things like that.
And then how many staff members do you have?
We have 14 staff members. Majority of them are classroom teachers. And then we have myself, an office admin, and then our cook.
And in terms of the Great Give today, I mean, people are donating and they're looking for organizations to support. Of course, the reputation of Julia Day precedes it. But do you have a dollar amount you're hoping to raise during the Great Give today? And do you have any specific programs or initiatives you're hoping to fund using Great Give money?
We have not set a goal on what we're looking to raise. Any donation is so helpful to us. You know, someone might think, oh, it's only $10. $10 is helpful to us. We'll use the funds to continue to bring in the consultants who have been working in the classrooms, supporting our teachers and supporting the children, and supporting families. We have a few families right now who are facing homelessness, and being able to provide some resources for them, whether it's connecting them with community things, giving the child clothes, household goods for the family, and then continuing to bring in those enrichment things that we do in the summer. We're trying to really implement more of that throughout our school year. So to have someone coming in to do yoga with them on a regular basis, the sports program to be able to provide some active activity during those colder months when we're not going outside. And all of these folks that we bring in are from this community. So it also gives the parents somewhere where maybe they could take their child or build a relationship with someone, outside of Julia Day, and continue to work that bond and network to other resources that might be helpful to them.
And excuse me, you had mentioned some families who are facing the prospect of homelessness. I know rental rates there's large swath of apartments for rent in Ansonia and Derby, but the rentals have gone through the roof over the last year or two. As an institution that's out there embedded in the community, or as an employee of an institution that's embedded in this community for more than 100 years, what particular issues are you seeing as challenges? Obviously, the Great Give, one of the wonderful things about it is you can give directly. These are social service agencies that we can support today. What are some specific issues that you're seeing in the community, if any?
So parents being able to find employment that is working with them in their childcare. I mean, we're open from 6:45 till 5:30, but we have, some families whose employers want them to be working longer hours, or, being able to find care or something to supplement this program, to provide that safe place for their child so that they can work. Food insecurity for sure. We've been working with, the local pantries, different food events happening in the community, whether it's food giveaways or meal giveaways, and sharing that information with our families, places where they can go to find clothing for their children, whether it's because of a homelessness situation or just they grow so quickly, and not having the funds to be able to buy their children the things that they need.
And Shannon, how did you first get involved with Julia Day? And then my second question would be a little bit of the history, because I'm completely ignorant of Julia Day as an institution that's been around for 100 years. But how did you wind up there?
So I have been a child care director for about 10 years. I've been here at Julia Day going on 3. So I had worked with Sharon Kelly, who was the previous director, as a peer director, and knew of the program. And then when I had heard that Sharon was going to be looking to retire, I thought that this would be a great fit for me. I love working with children. I believe in early childhood education and how important it is for kids to be in a program. But the different part about working at Julia Day is that I also get to work with other communities, sit on different committees who are looking at trying to streamline finding resources for these families. So it's not just I'm a child care director, I'm an advocate in the community. I'm building a community here and helping folks who truly need the resources that the Valley provides.
And then I was going to ask you about the history, but Before I do that, you had
Yeah.
mentioned some of these other organizations or
Yeah.
these other committees or commissions or whatever they are. What are some examples of some of the people or groups you're working with to improve life here in the Valley?
So working with team and the Health and Human Services Committee, attending regular meetings there and looking at the entire Valley, working with the Valley Community Foundation, specifically looking at the child care crisis and facilitating different community conversations with families. So we not only have the information that we have from the Valley Community Index, but we're sitting down and really talking to people and being able to dive a bit deeper to understand, what their issues are, and being able to bounce back some different ideas and things that we're working on as a committee to see how the community receives that.
And are there any particular initiatives or ideas that are being put forth as a result of this work to maybe open up more childcare slots or anything like that? Where are we heading?
So nothing set in stone yet, but looking at, different models, opening more existing slots, supporting opening additional centers, maybe looking at different models of childcare centers, and seeing just really what makes sense and what parents are comfortable with. Because what we've heard across the board is, they don't just want to send their child anywhere. Yes, they need a space in childcare and the education, and those things are important to them. But being able to trust the providers that they are leaving their children with is equally as important. So it's not just as easy as create more spaces or open more schools, because that may not solve the problem that our community is looking at.
Scary. There is nothing more traumatic than sending your child. I mean, to school as well, but childcare was just it was traumatic. So a little bit about, maybe we'll end with a little bit of the history. How did it start? I mean, the fact that Julia Day Nursery School is still around 100 years later. On one hand, it seems it's kind of the Valley. The recreation camp down the road from me has been on the Housatonic River for 100 years.
Yeah.
Everywhere else I've worked in local journalism for 20 plus years, that's unheard of for something to be around that long, unless it's a church. But so what's the background?
Yeah, so it was originally set up, I believe, for the factory workers, somewhere to be able to bring their child. Typically, it was younger children than the preschool children that we are servicing now, so that they can go to work. But Julia Day's always been like rooted in knowing what's happening around us. Recently, we had received some donations. Someone had passed and listed Julia Day as the beneficiary, that they wanted donations to be sent to. And we gave a call to talk to the family because neither myself or my office manager recognized the name or knew the story. And her father or grandfather had lived next door, and the mother had passed, and he had 6 kids. And the director and the staff here, heard these kids running around all day as he was going to work, and they went over and the dad wasn't home. He said, well, when he gets home, send him over. So everybody's terrified, right? Like, oh, he has to go over there. And he was like, what did you do? Why do I have to go over? But the director said, tomorrow you'll bring your children here. You will go to work and you will bring them here. And they were given food. They were taken care of. The older children were given some responsibilities. And so that's really, from way back then, that's what Julia Day is.
That's incredible. And then I may be a complete ignoramus, and I'll apologize in advance. But Julia Day, who was Julia Day?
I actually don't know the answer to that question, which probably isn't a really great answer to give you.
That's fine. If I could edit this, I would, but that's fine. We could end on that. I was worried, like everybody in the Valley knows, but that's how ingrained it is into the community. It's just the name that exists.
Yeah.
All right, Shannon, I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to me. And I, of course, strongly encourage people to support Julia Day Nursery School. You just got a 15-minute explanation of what it does and what it's been doing here in the Naugatuck Valley. It's on the forefront of one of the most pressing social issues locally, and that's the need for affordable childcare. So if you go to thegreatgive.org, look up Julia Day, or you can go to valleyindy.org under Extra Extra. There's links to every local By local, I mean Valley, nonprofit participating in the Great Give today. So Shannon, is there anything else you want to say, maybe areas that I didn't touch upon because I talk too much?
No, I just,
Okay.
want to thank anyone in advance that's going to give to us. Every little bit truly will help us and help the children we serve.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.